Okay, hello, we are recording. So hello
Hi.
everyone, my name is Alyssa Seymour. I'm the program manager of Junior Achievement Big Bend, and we are here to do the J Launch Lesson virtual speaker series. And today we have Geranise Dorce, who is here from Read to Rise to give us her entrepreneurial journey. Hello.
Hi everyone.
Yes, and we're super excited to have you here and to get to know more about you and your business. It's going to be very exciting stuff. All
Thank you for
right.
having me.
Of course, of course. And for part one questions, we're going to be doing her journey. So for question number one, it's motivation. So what motivated you from idea to action with your business?
Well, I was born and raised in Haiti. So I went to school there from first through sixth grade. And so I have personal experience with the education system and what it lacks. So I know that back then living in Haiti and never actually walking into a library, like I had never gone to a library, never read a book outside of a classroom, and that was totally normal. However, when I moved to the United States and my middle school then had its own library, not only so, the classrooms had books, and we were encouraged to read from outside of the classroom, and that to me, it just like shattered my whole worldview of what was normal and what it is that students deserve in an education system. And so I always have it in the back of my mind that at some point I will go back to Haiti, I'll do something with that. But when I was in college, an opportunity presented itself is when I finally was able to go back again and reflect on my experience in Haiti, reach out to some of the students who were there, and just being really, really frustrated with so much that we're lacking, and formulating some sort of solutions to the issues that I had personally experienced that I know even 10 years later we're still persisting in that same education system.
Wow. Yeah, who would have thought of those like drastic differences? Like you
Yeah.
wouldn't know unless you came here, like comparing those
Yeah.
differences.
And you
S-
wouldn't really know the true effects of it unless you personally experience it. Like you can go to Haiti and see that there are no libraries, but you won't know exactly what effect it has on a child and their reading level. What exactly are you learning in school if you're not actually reading anything? Do you know what I mean? So it just exposed the instability of the whole education system.
for sure. And it's very essential to
Hmm.
know how to
Yeah.
read. Very essential. So that kind of brings us into inspiration. So I can see a little bit of inspiration from the motivation here. So can you speak about who were your mentors and how did they influence your startup? And who is your support network? Like who has been there with you since the start of Read to Rise?
So there's been a few people, honestly. So Wendy Plant through the Innovation Challenge, Bruce
Yeah,
Monsiagli. Oh, he's amazing. Do you know Bruce?
of course. Yes, I went to Bali with him for
So you know
social
everything then.
entrepreneurship. Yes, and Wendy Plant
He's,
is actually part of the
uh
board for Junior Achievement.
oh wow, I did not even know. I need to reach out to her again. But yeah, he's just like such a gentle spirit, but yet so knowledgeable about the fields. And he was not afraid to just meet up with me for lunch. And he's like, okay, what are you thinking? What are we doing? What's your plan? Is this human centered? Yes. How come? How is it sustainable? How do you intend to continue this after the competition? So lots of questioning, but just gently walking me through the process as well. Because prior to that, prior to taking his class, I really didn't have any formal education in nonprofits. I mean, I was an ambassador for one. I was an intern and then a secretary. So I've worked within that field, but never really know how to create my own. So he was really essential to that. And Hannah King as well. You know
Yes.
her.
Mm-hmm.
She was with me through the competition, and she had won it the previous year, and she was amazing, super supportive the entire almost the entire way through.
That's awesome. So how,
Oh,
oh, go
oh,
ahead.
sorry. I realized I forgot some people. My family too. I mean, they always believe in whatever I'm doing, so it's good. But my grandma, surprising. She's
Oh,
uh she's she's illiterate, and it come to think of it, I was thinking about it many years ago, I suppose, that a lot of my family members are illiterate. And so my grandma championed this program as well to promote literacy and to provide students with quality education. And so that's been amazing as well.
Wow, that is awesome. So it's like
Mhm.
your grandmother serves as a role model for all the kids
Yeah.
that you serve.
I mean, in fact, when one day I was walking from Bruce's class and we had just entered the competition, and for some reason I looked at Stroger Library, and it's not my first time seeing it, but it was my first time seeing it through this different lens. And I looked up and I was just like, Stroger Library. Like, if you really think about it, you can look up these various shapes and lines and really know exactly what sounds is supposed to produce. What does that mean? And anyone else who speaks English would look at those same lines and shapes and know exactly what they mean. And I just started thinking about my grandma, thinking about my father, who was also illiterate, and my stepdad, who's also now illiterate, just thinking about all of them and thinking, what if they were walking in front of this building? What would they see? Would it be like art? Would it look like art? Sort of like when I see Arabic, it's like, oh, that's really beautiful. I have no idea what this is, but it's beautiful. Do they also just see shapes and lines and not be able to even understand what exactly, whose library is it? Whose library, what is the library named after? And just knowing that this is too common of a issue in Haiti, and feeling like, yeah, we really got to get this thing going. Yeah.
Seriously, yeah, I didn't even think about it in that way. Because it's, I can I can read, I can understand English, and I can see that. But that's a good comparison with like seeing
Yeah.
Arabic and being like, oh, yeah, it looks beautiful, but we have no idea what
Yeah,
it
I have
says.
no idea.
No idea. But that's really crazy. Didn't even think about it that way. So I guess you kind of touched upon preparation here with
Uh-huh.
education. So the next question is what education, training, and experience helped prepare you to start a business?
Well, actually, we can go even further back. I
For sure.
Yeah, so in high school, I ran a business. It was it was for profit, and it was through an academy. So they had an existing business that had shut down because the student that was running it had quit. And so it fell upon me then to continue her legacy with that business, but also to innovate. It was a keychain, so it was a seasonal business. I was engraving keychains for Valentine's Day, and then we had to think about packaging. We had to think about delivery systems. We were Amazon based. I was thinking like I was Jeff Bezos, okay? Because you have to deliver these keychains to the person's crush or best friend within their period, their class period, and it had to be on time, and it had to be when everyone was present, so it could be like an amazing gift that they're
Special.
receiving. Yeah. So preparing for that all year, and yeah, I just loved it. I loved thinking about ways to make this business more effective, to make it more profitable, and of course later on getting to volunteer through various nonprofits as a freshman in college, and even before, still in high school, and then to be an ambassador. Do you know the Southern Scholarship Foundation?
I do, yes.
Yeah, so I was an ambassador for them for a year, and then I was also an intern that same year. And then I was
Wow.
a secretary the year before, but
Oh my
all of
goodness.
that before I was a volunteer. Yeah, so I love them. I love the work that they're doing with students. And prior to getting involved with them, there's a lot of reading to children at elementary schools. So I guess you could say it's just nonprofits and students have just always been part of my interest, part of my core values. Yeah.
Wow. So that is so cool how you started off like in sales a little bit
Yeah.
with entrepreneurship. You're like, oh, here's someone else dropped it. It's all on you now. And it's like
Yeah.
entrepreneurship at heart right there, innovating and taking over the wheel or recreating the wheel or
And it was
innovating the
amazing.
wheel.
It
Yeah.
was amazing because just being able to look at the way that she had set up the previous, I don't know if there's this engraving sheet that you would engrave things on, and the way that she had it set up, and I just immediately looked at it and I'm like, no, we can make more out of that. I made it 500% profit that
Oh
those
my
years
god.
when I was in charge.
Holy crap.
Yeah.
Everyone listen up.
And they used the money to save the prom because we were not going to be able to afford prom. that year, and then the the 500% profit that I had made on the engraving business was used to save prom. Yeah.
That is so cool. I would be super
Yeah.
jelly if I was in high school with you. Be like, this girl is so cool.
No one knew me actually, not like that. Like I was always like I guess I wasn't as social as I am now. I was always about the work. I showed up an hour before school started, and then I left right before practice for cross country, and I never went to lunch because I was working in the engraving shop. So people have heard of me, but people didn't know me like as best friends or anything like that.
Oh,
So I
well,
could
hard at
change that if I
work.
was to go back in time. Yeah.
Yeah, well, and you're so successful. Like you've made it so like you have your own business now. Like that is so cool. Like who would have thought like you in high school doing all those engravings and being a part of all these nonprofits would lead you to where you are today. So that's truly pretty. That's awesome. So everyone take some pointers here.
And
Uh,
they're in high school too, so they can start now. You can, yeah.
exactly. It's never too late, guys. Never too late
Mm-mm,
and never too early either.
at all. That's
Uh,
like my passion. It's never too early. You can do it. You can be 2 years old and impact the world. I'm
woo!
sure.
For sure. For sure. Where were we with? Okay, so this kind of leads into expectation. So, what has surprised you the most in your entrepreneurial journey?
Oh, this is going to be a downward. This is like a we were on such a high. What has
No.
surprised me is the burnout. You know, everyone tells you um, there's a possibility that you'll burn out. Just prioritize yourself, and I heard it. Bruce prepared me. He's like, there'll be times when you feel like you don't want to continue this. Just remember when I tell you. And I'm just like, no, that will never happen to me. I will always be full of passion. This is such an important cause. And I've always loved students, and I'm sure of it. Yeah. The burnout, it caught me off guard because I thought like to burn out would be because I ran out of passion for what I'm doing or because things were not working for me anymore. But no, external situations can also lead to mental fatigue and just being burnt out from the work that you are trying to do, or even just general adversities in the work that you're doing. For instance, me being a woman and being so young and working in a culture where young people are not, their opinions are not as valued. So we had to get over that hurdle.
Mm-hmm.
And it took energy. And it's a small business, it's a nonprofit. And I had all the passion, and I was trying to just motivate everyone involved to get the projects going, believe in the students like I do, believe in this cause like I do, believe in the nonprofit like I do. And then all this pouring out, I never think of like how I'm not finding anyone to pour into me, because I eventually moved out of Tallahassee. So I lost the mentorship. I lost that community, that's such an encouraging community. I lost them. So I moved to Central Florida. It was just me. So every day I have to motivate everybody in my team, and then nothing came back to me in that way. So the burnout, it came from the left for me, because I still love what I do. I still enjoy the impact that we're making, but I was not expecting to feel like I don't want to do something one day, like I don't want to continue, you know?
Oh, sorry about that. Had a phone call that popped up. So with that being said about like the burnout, because that's a different type of burnout that I
Mm-hmm.
haven't heard before from any of my friends. I can definitely agree with being young. That's a no, whole nother hurdle. Being a woman,
Yeah.
it's a whole nother hurdle to this day still. And how is there some advice that you can give to any young girls out there or women our age to how to combat this burnout? Like, what have
Oh,
you
yeah,
done?
absolutely. Well, at the end of the day, when it comes to that hurdle, being a young woman in that field and then interacting with that culture where young people are not as valued, I would say, I just had to remember I am Geranise Dorce. I am me. I started this program because I believe in this cause. I will not let someone else devalue me and what I bring to the table. I bring experience, I bring passion, I bring the money, most importantly, when it comes to this, to actually getting something done. And if someone does not agree with, not with the cause, not with the organization, but with me being a woman and being young, then that person does not deserve a seat at my table. So we move on. We find a different
Exactly.
person, we find different people, because they exist. There are men out there who are totally progressive and who are all about the work. They exist. We just got to dig a little bit deeper, put in the effort, of course, educate a person. But at some point, you just got to let it go, let people go. You know what I mean? Um,
Yes.
just don't take it personal, because they do not define you. You define you. And at the end of the day, who do you say you are? Do you have the grit to keep going? Do you believe in your mission even when others don't? And that's what kept me grounded this entire time. And now they're on my side. Yeah.
Love it. Yes. So
Yeah.
stay bold and stay confident. That's what I got from
Yeah.
there. Keep believing in your
Precisely.
mission.
Hmm.
Love it. So this, you kind of touched upon this as well for the next
Yeah.
question. So this goes into challenges. So
Uh-huh.
what major business challenges have you encountered and how did you overcome them? So speaking more on Read to Rise specifically here.
Reach businesses. Well, you, as the founder and CEO, I thought I would, first of all, I would know every aspect of my business, which I do. But you cannot do every single job that the business require. First, that leads to a burnout, and it's just not as efficient or effective. You cannot be an expert on every single thing to ever exist. So my biggest challenge was, one, finding a competent team to help make this mission happen and trusting them to do the work. Um, and making sure that my team's vision aligns with my vision for the organization as well. I think that that's really important, because nonprofit takes a lot of work. You cannot do it on your own. If you do, it would like, I don't know, at the end, you might just give up.
Yeah, you might explode.
Yeah, so get a good team. So get a good team that shares your passion, shares your vision for the organization, and is willing to work to make this happen. And honestly, I think once you have that, you golden. Just continue to learn with that team. You can make things happen. That's my alarm. I'm going to dismiss it.
That is all good. Love it. Yeah, you need the right skill sets to be surrounded by. And
Precisely.
they also need to be 100% driven to your mission. So I definitely
Mhm.
agree with that. Great advice. So now we're going to jump into part two, your business model. So we're going to speak in a lot of specifics here. So for question number one, your big idea. Share your big idea. Tell the story of how it developed. You kind of dove into that in the
Kinda.
beginning. So if you want to
Yeah.
go ahead and elaborate on that.
So Reach Your Eyes initially started through the innovation challenge. I almost a competition. Innovation challenge. And what was amazing about it is they literally were so detailed. I've attended certain conferences and they're like, no, your business plan does not have to be so many pages long. FSU was like, no, your business plan has to be 1,000 pages long. Answer every single question to make sure you know what you're talking about and that you're hitting all the different points, right? So it was really helpful to know who's my target market, what is my value proposition. First of all, what is what is a value proposition? Basically, not only ask the correct questions, but define them as well. Which, by the way, I would be happy to share with you some of these questions if that would be helpful for you. So that's basically how it started, and also having the class and knowing about human-centered design and knowing that the solution is not worth it if the customers are not the priority. You know what I mean?
Yeah, for
Yeah,
sure. That makes 100% sense because you want your business to be sustainable.
yeah, definitely. Sustainability, that was a huge thing as well. So my big idea started from a point of frustration with the Haitian education system, and then having been so blessed to have the 1,000 questions from the innovation challenge, and which really pushed me to really dive into it in detail. What is it am I trying to do? How am I going to get there? How have I tested these ideas? How do I know that people want the solution that I am offering? All of these surveys that had to be done internationally. So yeah, I don't know if I've
Wow.
answered the question.
No, you did. Yeah, you did. You shared
Okay.
upon it in the beginning and you went more in depth there. So it sounds
Yeah,
like this competition was really the eye
that
opener
was
for
it.
you. Yeah, very
And do you know,
fantastic.
I almost did not enter. It was like first of all, I didn't know the competition was going on. When I came home and I was frustrated, and Hannah's like, why don't you just enter the competition? I'm like, are you crazy? When is the deadline? She goes, tonight, 11:59. And I just like, oh no. And it was like 9 something. So I had to get to work instantly to
Oh
send
my
it in on
good.
time. Yeah,
Oh
the
my
pressure was
goodness.
on. It was
I
like
would have
2 hours to draft a whole bunch of ideas. Yeah.
Oh my goodness. I would have had no idea. I watched her pitch, by the way, guys, at this
Oh,
competition. So I would have had no idea that you were last minute. You seemed like a pro at everything that you pitched on.
oh, thank you. I mean, the that was the good part about it. I think what the students should think about when they're thinking about what issue that they want to resolve, what issue that they want to tackle, and possibly have a solution for, what their business idea would be. It normally, if you look back at your life, we can pretty much know what your passions are and what your future is going to be. So all of my life, having attended the education system in Haiti and having thought about it so many times, and what was wrong with it, what I would like to see done differently, and then also volunteering through all these nonprofits from high school all the way through college. So my mind, I already knew what I wanted to do. I had already thought about it. Even though I had 2 hours to put down what I wanted to do, it wasn't something new. It wasn't anything new to me. I was already passionate about it. I already had the experience and things. And the competition stretched over several months. So I had time to refine my ideas and have Bruce help me and things like that.
For sure, yes. And wow, just a huge light bulb moment right there
Yeah.
for the competition. It's like, oh wait, this is what I wanted to do.
Yeah.
Love it. So this, you already touched upon this a little bit. For the next question is value proposition. So talk about why your product or service, like why are you doing your product or service and what need it fills?
Yeah, so Reach has 4 different programs that we offer. There's the book pantry program where we provide recreational books for our students. And then we have the textbook rental program for where we purchase the textbooks at wholesale and then we rent it to our students for half of the price that they would have purchased it at the market. Like they would have purchased a fake copy in the market. So the real thing is way more expensive, but we still want to rent it to them at that price. And then they make payments monthly instead of having just the cash instantly like they would have in the market. And the
Oh,
reason for that, let me branch out really quickly. The reason for that is because another issue with Haiti is the textbooks are so expensive. People end up making fake copies that leads to vision issues. You don't know how the text written could actually affect your vision, but apparently it can. And then some pages are missing and it's just falling apart by the end of the year, but still it's so expensive for the parents. Because when you're buying something in the market, it's not like on layaway, you have to have all of the cash present. And we did the math, we noticed that a parent would have to have like $50 to purchase all the books needed for a 6th grader if they were to purchase it at the retail price at the like the correct copy, not the fake version. And there's just no way. The people are surviving off of $2 per day generally. There's no way they're gonna have like $50 at the ready. So, but if I
wow.
purchase it, if the organization purchases it wholesale, then we get discounts. So that's the first. And we aren't looking to have profit like instantly that same year. It will take 2 to 3 years to have some slight amount of profit after having rented it to multiple students. So that makes a difference as well. And renting it, making it so that they can actually make payments on the book while the students still have the book throughout the year instead of having to have like money, the entire amount needed um, on site when they're purchasing the book. Do you know what I mean? So this
Wow.
would, yeah, I'll explain how it alleviates the the basically lack of textbooks in the classroom. Students would go with an empty backpack, essentially. Like they would go to school, empty backpack, so they're not reading the textbooks, they're not reading recreationally. So you wonder, what are you paying for, really, you know?
Yeah.
So that's the first two program. Another program is volunteering, because I want our students to um, understand that they can make an impact in their community. You don't have to. Haiti depends so much on foreign aid, and that leads sometimes for the people to think, if there's an issue that is happening, that they should just wait for the US or for whatever other foreign country to come and provide aid. Well, I'm trying to change that culture, because, well, we have the intelligence, we have the means, we certainly have the population to do the work. Even the smallest thing, like cleaning up our own neighborhood and volunteering at the local hospital, can definitely make an impact and change our minds from a dependent nation to an independent nation that can do something to help
Yeah.
help itself rise out of poverty. So creating those opportunities, which we have here in the United States, but it's not a thing. Volunteering is not at all. It's non-existent in Neogan and in many other cities in Haiti. So we want to implement that by creating partnership with these businesses and having the students volunteer, and hopefully creating some connections for after graduation, that they can have a job, which is another issue in Haiti as well. And the third thing is just to have mentorship. I know that my mentorship from Bruce and Hannah King and Wendy Plant and some of the other people in SSF, the Southern Scholarship Foundation, were definitely instrumental to the work that I'm doing now, to the success that I've had. So trying to find those successful people in the community to mentor our students, and hopefully to I don't know, to break down some of those barriers. So
Yes.
in summary, these programs exist to help to improve the quality of the education that the students receive, as well as to promote literacy in Haiti, and then also to empower the community, to, I don't know, make an impact, because I think they
Yes.
can. I know that they can. And then the third thing, there's some financial opportunities. So like the students, that's another part. Tutoring. We have not yet started that program, but we are working to create this tutoring opportunities for the high schoolers to the elementary school students.
Ooh.
Yes, so that they will be financially compensated, but it would not be the same amount that a teacher would have gotten for tutoring those same students. Yeah, so in Haiti, the culture is that the teachers tutor the students after school, and they get paid extra for it. But it's excessive. If you don't have a lot of money, then your student won't be able to participate in that program. However, if we have the high schoolers to tutor the elementary school student, which I think they're totally qualified to do,
Yeah.
then they can lower the cost for the parents while still being effective for the students there as well. So it's a
That
lot. It's a lot of value propositions. It's a lot,
it
but
is.
yeah.
But I see how it flows though. I
Mm-hmm.
like how it's all still revolving like the same value proposition. It just
Mm-hmm.
you have that empower and
Yes.
actionable things as well. So
Mm-hmm.
that's just so cool. I am like so blown away. So how, because you are currently in Central Florida, like you said earlier.
Mm-hmm.
So you do this all remotely, like
Yes. So
managing all of this.
yes, for the most part. I do go to Haiti. So like in 2019, I went for a month. And then in 2020, well, traveling is not, is not, we don't have that same privilege to travel to Haiti. But the good news is before the pandemic had started, we hired a representative in Haiti. So I am doing all of this um, remotely, but I also have a representative to meet with my directors in Haiti monthly, and then also I meet with them. I talk to them through WhatsApp. I mean, it's what we can. We can't do emails because internet access is also non-existent, pretty much
Oh
in Haiti. Like
wow.
people have to pay for yeah, they have to pay for their internet. We do too, but it's much slower internet, and it doesn't go beyond their
Oh,
cell phones. yeah, so there's no like, oh, I'm getting Wi-Fi from a laptop. No, it's whatever you got on your cell phone, and as soon as it's used, it's used. Yeah, so they have to budget wisely when it comes to the internet, and so we have to make our meetings effective and efficient as well.
Wow, that
Hmm.
is, I would have thought that would have been a challenge that you would have brought up earlier on.
Oh, it is,
Yeah, for sure.
but we've found a way around it, I think.
Oh, that's good. Wow, I'm like super blown away on how many different services you provide. And it is so cool how you're focusing on the now, but also the future of Haiti with not having them be dependable. That's going to be so powerful because all it takes is one person.
Exactly.
As crazy as that sounds, as many people that say it, it's like, oh, you're just one person doing it. But all it takes is that one person to create change, to create
Exactly.
impact, and then the rest to follow. So kudos to
Thank
you. Give me
you.
a round of
Yeah.
applause.
Thank you. I wanted it to be sustainable. This is why we have so many programs, and I have not started all 4 programs at once because, you got to think about the resources. We're still a startup, you know. So we started with 2 programs that we can do now, and we're creating connections to get the other ones moving and in process by the end of 2025. So yeah, we have the goals to reach certain number of students. Well, I mean, we have to pivot now because of COVID-19, but we
Yes.
we have the plans in place. And Haiti has the youngest population in the world. It's just like we have so much potential. Yeah.
So much potential, and you're targeting
Yeah.
them at a young age. That's great.
Hmm.
That is great. Oh my goodness, what question were we on?
I'm
Um,
not sure.
okay, question number 3. We kind of dove into this as well, your customers. So
Yeah.
describe the target market for your product and service. Yes, so describe the target market for your product or service. So who
Yeah.
is the one
So
buying?
yeah. So for now, we are focusing on first through sixth grade, just because we have, I think, the earlier that you become a reader, then the easier it is for you to continue to practice or to build a habit of reading. And the earlier we can intervene in this poor quality education, then the more prepared you can be for high school. So while we have the little resource that we have, we wanted to start early. So first through sixth grades, of course, they're not the one purchasing or renting the books from us, but they'll be the one benefiting. So their parents for the textbook rental program, but for the volunteering, even within their school, that's something that we're thinking about. So the volunteering, the recreational books, the mentorship. I think the earlier, the sooner you can build connection in that system, the connection in your community, then the better it is. So right now,
Yes,
yeah, first through sixth grade.
that's awesome. And that is like, even though they're all like super young, that is very different. First grader versus a sixth grader. A lot
Yeah,
of different age there. Hold on.
yeah. So the first graders are more so for the recreational reading, like yeah. So we include the first grade through the sixth grade with reading, but when it comes to volunteering, it would be mostly like the fifth and sixth graders would be doing that at their schools. The first graders, we've talked to their teachers, and it's just like, yeah, we can have them clean up their own classroom after. And I'm just like, you don't already do that? Yeah, then they can volunteer to pick up their own pencils. So that could be nice. Yeah.
Love it, love it. You're giving them more initiatives there.
Yeah, first
Love
grade.
it.
So cute.
Oh, I bet. Um, and so yeah, you answered that question pretty well. Sorry for the distractions. Phone rang
Oh
again, and
no.
the dog came in. Perks of COVID world, everybody. Um, so we have 2 more questions left.
Yeah.
The second to last one is sales and marketing. So explain how you market your product or service. Like, what is your main outlet? Social media? Like, where do you go to market your
So because
product?
it is an international, so like we are dealing with the schools in Haiti. We are partnered with the schools in Haiti, but our donor base is in the United States. So there's 2 ways here. Our representative makes certain trips um, to different schools to build partnerships to the different hospitals and different places that our students can possibly volunteer in the future. So this is how we reach the Haitian people in person because that's the culture, and also because internet is not as available to everyone there. And then for the US side of we find a lot of success on Facebook, which is like I heard some people refer to it like the old people social media platform. I don't think so. I still like Facebook.
Me too.
So so very, very much through Facebook, and now we're recently starting to engage Instagram as well. So these two platforms, and we have different ways. I have the A Book a Week program. I don't know if you've heard about it.
Yes.
So yeah, because of the COVID-19 and we couldn't launch in Haiti for that year, so we decided, okay, we can still promote literacy somewhere. And because of access to the internet, we're hoping that we're reaching more of an audience that is greater than just Haiti, but also the United States or anyone else who follows us on social media. So we read a book a week and we give a copy away, sometimes more than a copy, just so that we can live out our mission, even though we can't directly engage in some of the programs that we have already. Yeah.
I see. Very cool. So, yeah, Facebook, I've heard that before. It's only for old people. But then again, people say I'm old now because a lot of the younger kids that are in high school, the ones that we're speaking to today, they use Facebook. It's all about TikTok and Snapchat.
Oh no, I don't have a TikTok.
Me neither.
I'm so behind. Sorry, kids,
So
I can't follow you on TikTok.
Same. Hopefully we'll get the swing of things soon.
Yeah, I'm so, because I was hesitant about Instagram. My personal Instagram, I did not make it. My best friend was like, "That's it. You're getting an Instagram," and she made one. And I'm just like, okay. And then for years, I never used it until like 2019.
What?
I know. I never. But then I had followers, and I was like, "Why do I have followers?
They're
I
finding
never posted." Yeah. So, yeah.
That is crazy. The power of social media.
We've reached a lot of people through Instagram and Facebook. Like one time we reached like 1,500 people, and just like I could not have done that in person, just one post.
Seriously,
Yeah.
like that's like the benefits of social media. Like it really expands your reach because it's not like you can reach 1,500 people in one day in person, unless it's like at a massive summit or something. So that's super cool.
Crazy. And we were able to do a lot of fundraising recently for COVID-19 supplies for our students. So creating hand washing stations and providing masks for our students, because Haiti, they reopened their schools. And that's in part because they can't do online, so it has to be in person. But we thought if our students are going to be out there, then we want to at least provide them some sort of protection. So again, pivoting from our normal programs and just prioritizing our student in that way.
That is awesome. I'm glad that you guys did something like that. It's truly beneficial. So on to the last question. It is about capital. So share how you funded your startup of your company and describe other methods of securing startup capital. So I think some of your capital came from the challenge, innovation challenge, right?
Yes. So that was the initial ways that we funded our programs through that, and just very tight budgeting. That's going to be a skill that you would need if you're going to have a startup, okay? Especially your nonprofit. So that was one way. And then we've done some campaigns. So like the COVID-19 campaign, and then some other campaigns for our programs as well have yielded some good amount of money. I mean, I can't disclose, but yeah. So social media has been super helpful, especially like Giving Tuesdays, when you can double the amount that you fundraise. If you are a nonprofit, or if you intend to start a nonprofit, Giving Tuesday is your friend, or like any company that's willing to match whatever donation you've received for any particular campaign. Those are really important, because for grants, those are difficult to win, because you're going against like a lot of other nonprofits, a lot of other organizations, ones that have been in business for decades or have already built connections. And I know for SSF sometimes it's just like, we're just resending this out of courtesy. This is our grant money. they know us. You know, it's like we're gonna do it, but you still make sure you send a good application. But you just don't compete because you don't have the years of data that they have to prove their success and things like that. But don't let that discourage you. Giving Tuesday is a thing, and there are companies that are matching. There are companies that are donating. So like, you just got to do your research. One other way, what I used to do is I would not spend the company's money on business trips or anything. So I spent a month in Haiti. That was my money. I attended a lot of conferences with the Hillary Clinton Foundation and some, oh, CGIU. So, and any other places that I was going to go, I made sure to secure my own funding for it, just because I wanted to use the organization's resources for something that was related to the program. Can you imagine though, if you have this money that you've gathered either in donations or like through the competition, and then 2 years have gone by and all of the money's gone, but you have nothing to show for it except that you went on a trip, you know? So if you
Yeah.
can, yeah, if you can do that to fund your own, because bigger businesses, of course, if you go in on a conference for a bigger business, then they're probably going to cover your hotel or like your flight and things like that. It's not the same with a startup.
No.
It is not the same, especially it was like my first year in it. It was, the organization was like less than a year when I had to go through all these trips, and that was on me as well. I know that some people receive loans or gifts from their family members.
Hmm.
My family is not that family. We don't have it. So some people can, you can get a business loans. I think twice before I get into debt, because you really do have to pay back. But if you have
Yeah.
this really awesome idea and it's not just a nonprofit where the profit is not going to be, where it's not yielding a lot of profit, you know what I mean? Because some nonprofits do have profit, but it just, the money that they make goes back into the organization. You know what I mean? So like,
Hmm.
if you're that type of nonprofit, you can definitely secure a loan and get involved with that. I know crowdfunding, which we are
Yes.
getting into.
Yeah.
GoFundMe is changing people's lives and it's changing the world. So if you have a bold idea, don't be afraid to put it out there. What are they going to say? No? Like, no is nothing. You know
Yeah.
what I mean? No is just the
Somebody,
absence of them doing something for you. You know what I mean?
exactly.
So
Yes.
having it out there and possibly have someone donate $5, $8, $10. If you have 1,000 people to donate $8, then you got $1,000, and
Ex-
that's a lot. Um, So yeah, crowdfunding, events. I know some people who can, in the beginning, what we had thought about for our organization is to create a gala, a Haitian gala, like celebrating our
oh.
culture. And then I had a lot of friends lined up, very talented friends who were like, yeah, we'll do, they'll perform all types of songs and poetry and different things. Yeah, they were all about it. So I'll revisit that idea. And so people who are attending the event will pay to get there. To attend it, and then also be educated about what we're doing, be educated about what's going on in Haiti, while also having a fun night out sort of situation. So you
Of
can do a lot of
course.
things.
Well,
Crowdfunding, create an event. Yeah,
if you end up doing that gala, send me an invite.
absolutely. I would love to. It's just the COVID-19, it's okay. There's lots of things that are happening that are positive as a result of COVID-19, but it really dampened a lot of people's plans and moods, you know?
Oh, 100%. And we're all still adjusting, even what, like
Mhm.
6, 7 months, however long it's
Oh my
been.
gosh, it has been 6 months. Yeah.
Yeah, it's been a long time, but I'm glad to see that, you're still holding strong and your organization is still moving forward and did other initiatives like providing those masks and
Yeah, you have to
sanitation.
pivot.
Yes, you have to pivot, even if it's not directly related to your mission. So I
Yeah,
admire you for doing that.
thank you.
Um, and thank you for going in depth about your capital. So, guys, this is specifically to nonprofits, but also for
Yeah,
profits for
for
some.
profits too, absolutely.
Yeah, for some of those, but very fantastic. But that was my last question. But for
Yeah.
personally, for you, that a question that I have is what is some advice, final advice that you can give to these students today to pursue their entrepreneurial journey?
Yeah. Oh, this is gonna get emotional. So I know that I want to work with students and within the education system, but I've always believed that my passion, my purpose is to encourage and empower others. So it comes easily to me to say something like what I'm about to say and truly believe it. So I don't want you guys to know that you don't know me. I'm coming from nowhere and saying all of these things. I want you to know that I think, well, I know you have the potential to impact the world. The world is huge and you're just one person, but still you can have a domino effect. And whatever idea, whatever issue that is in your heart, on your heart now, and that you're working towards, you can definitely do something about it. And you can definitely make a change. I know this and I believe this. I've always believed in it. And it's part of the reason why I've decided to create We to Rise. I know that Haiti can rise itself out of poverty. I know that the people have the intellect. They just need the resources and the time to actually make this happen. So I've decided to help provide some of that resources. And you can do the same. Whatever country, whatever community, whatever the cause, you can do it. I strongly believe in that. Yeah.
Yay, I love it.
Yeah.
That's amazing advice. Thank you so much
No
for
problem.
sharing your entrepreneurial journey with us, providing those lovely words of wisdom, and and just thank you for your honesty and transparency and sharing your journey overall. And where can we find you?
Thank you for having me. So you can go to www.readerisehaiti.com or .org. Sorry about that. .org. And then Instagram and Facebook is at We to Rise Haiti. Simple.
Oh,
Yeah,
awesome. I'll make sure to put her info in the link once I post this
absolutely.
video up on YouTube. But thank you so much for
No
sharing your
problem.
story.
And of course, don't be afraid to give my email as well. I don't know if you can edit this video or not. So yeah, if they have any questions about what I've said or any need any contacts for something that they think I can help them with, they're welcome to email me and I'll be happy to assist.
Awesome. Thank you so much.
Thank you so much for having me, Elisa.